Hey, how's it going, everyone? Today's topic, I want to discuss Social Security income. If an individual is looking to trigger it at age 62, wait till age 67, and wait till age 70, and then what are the four most important areas to consider when you should be triggering this sort of Social Security benefit. So I'm going to go over different examples. I'm going to show you how to implement this regarding retirement planning or retirement income planning in particular, and how to avoid the most common mistakes. So the first important consideration is benefit reduction. And simply put, if someone's looking to trigger Social Security income earlier, well, then they're going to receive a smaller monthly benefit payment than if they wait longer. And the Social Security Administration doesn't do this because they're nice. They're not just saying, hey, listen, sit in here. We're just going to constantly be increasing this, increasing this. They're doing this because you're 1 year closer to death or 1 month closer to death. So if you're triggering income, Social Security income at age 62, it's going to be reduced benefit than if you wait till 67. You're going to have less money if you trigger at age 67 than if you wait till age 70, because every year that you're basically living means that you're 1 year closer to death. If somebody, let's say, is going to pass away at age 80 and they had a time stamped on their head that they were going to pass away at age 80, well, triggering at age 62 requires more payments from Social Security Administration to that individual. So therefore, they're not going to shoot themselves in the foot and give you the same amount of money and basically give you that incentive to try to trigger it earlier. They're going to try to incentivize you to wait longer and longer and longer. And, when you're correlating this to some sort of retirement income play and retirement income planning, you have to really look at the math involved, because if you're triggering Social Security income, if you're lucky enough to have a pension income and you have retirement savings, it might make sense to do this and trigger Social Security income earlier so that you don't have to work for as many years, or you may not be, it might not be mathematically feasible to do this, meaning that you have to wait until you're 67, you have to wait until you're 70 to have that payment fat enough that will be able to accomplish what your expenses are when you're factoring in the pension income and your retirement savings versus your expenses in retirement. So just be mindful that the earlier that you trigger it, you're going to have a benefit reduction, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you should always wait longer. There's a case-by-case basis. I'm going to go over some different examples to really help you understand what that math is involved with some of the other important features. The second most important consideration is understanding full retirement age. So this is going to be different for every individual. It's really based on the year that they were born. So you might have seen that your full retirement age or your full benefits will come to you at age 66 or age 66 and 2/3 or age 67. It's based on the year that you were born, and there's going to be some sort of scale. So back in the day, full retirement age might have been age 65 for an individual. And then to basically kick this can down the road, understanding that individuals are living longer, Social Security Administration has increased that full retirement age. This is important to note if somebody's still looking to work, either part-time or full-time. Because if you trigger Social Security income, let's say at age 62, or you do this before full retirement age, you could have a reduction of your benefits by adding in these additional dollars from an occupation or from just some additional income sources. So when somebody hits that full retirement age, and let's say they trigger Social Security and they still want to work part-time, those benefits will not be affected as if you were basically triggering it before that full retirement age. So that can be very important. Also, as mentioned during the benefit reduction, if you're waiting till full retirement age, that's going to give you a higher monthly benefit than triggering it before. So if we use an example, and let's say that somebody decided to trigger Social Security income at their age 62, and they live until age 82, so just a clean 20 years. But at age 62, if they triggered income, it was going to be, for this hypothetical example, $20,000. So we understand that $20,000 was coming to them, and we're not incorporating cost of living adjustment or anything like that, just to really show you the simple math behind it. Let's just say that was level for $20,000 for the next 20 years. That would equate to a $400,000 benefit. Versus if, let's say, somebody was triggering Social Security income at their full retirement age, and that was age 66, and because they waited, they could now receive $30,000 per year. And let's say they only lived to age 82. So instead of 20 years, they're only living for 16 years. If you take 30,000 multiplied by 16, that's going to generate $480,000 of total income that was paid to that individual. So that's where showing when you wait longer, it could have a higher mathematical benefit from the long haul, as opposed to just taking the shiny object, at that shorter date, at that age 62 date. So I hope that this makes sense. It's a really easy example. It's not as realistic as what Social Security is, but just be mindful that the earlier you take it, if you passed away early, yes, that could be mathematically beneficial for you by taking it early. But if the longer that you live, the higher that the break even point is going to be more favorable for those later years of basically triggering it. So that's where a lot of individuals want to wait until full retirement age. And then it also makes things very easy when you're looking at your benefits on SSA.gov. You understand that, okay, my full benefit is going to be X amount of dollars, and they'll show you exactly what your age is, to the month that you could trigger that specific point to get the full retirement age and all those benefits that are correlated to it. The third important feature regarding Social Security benefits is delayed retirement credits. So this is really the point between full retirement age and up to age 70. Every month that you wait is going to increase your guaranteed benefit on Social Security income. So if, let's say, somebody's working and they're completely fine with basically going to work every day, and they say, hey, listen, I have pension income, I have retirement savings, I have rental income, I have all these different income sources that are coming to me. I really don't need to trigger Social Security income. Also, I feel like I'm going to live a long life. I have longevity on my side. I'm in good health. All this. I want to wait until that age 70. Well, then that's going to maximize out their benefit, and it's going to ratchet it up every month, every year that they're waiting. So that's where delayed retirement credits could be, very beneficial regarding an individual situation. But it all goes off of that same concept of the earlier you trigger Social Security income, the smaller that monthly dollar amount will be. The later you wait, the higher that monthly dollar amount will be. But then also the caveat to that is that's 1 year, 1 month closer to death before you trigger it. So, really the sweet spot is not waiting too long, but really understanding what your current situation is and what your goals are to make sure that you could accentuate the most optimized benefit of your Social Security income so that you're not just leaving it to chance. You're not just saying, okay, government, hold on to my monies. I'm going to wait on this, because if you wait too long, and let's say you die prematurely, well then that could obviously be be a bad problem because you basically paid into Social Security your entire life. So it doesn't make sense to trigger early, it doesn't make sense to trigger later, and it really is just a case-by-case basis. And that's what brings me to step number 4, to really unravel everything from a larger picture. Important consideration number 4 are financial considerations. So this is where it depends on what your expenses are right now and then what they're projected to be throughout retirement, and then creating some sort of strategy to eliminate what those expenses are, or to make sure that your income is going to be greater than or equal to your expenses throughout retirement. So there's a few different ways on how to do this. The easiest way to remember is to understand the 3 things scenario. There's 3 things that every individual needs to figure out before they're retired, or if they're currently retired, how to stay retired forever. The first thing is income, meaning that you want to make sure that your income is going to be greater than or equal to your expenses. The way on how somebody generates income in retirement is typically through Social Security income, through pension income, and then also through their retirement savings. If Social Security income is X amount of dollars, and okay, if I wait till 65, or if I wait till 67, till that full retirement age, or I wait till 70, this is where it's going to be the most mathematically appropriate for my position. It's based on what those expenses are, because if, let's say, when you start nearing your 60s, or you're in your 60s and you have a mortgage that's paid off by that point, and you guys decide, you and your spouse decide to downsize at that point, well, maybe your expenses might be minimal, and you might not have to wait and work those extra years, and you could basically ride off into the sunset based on what your Social Security income is and all these other factors. So like if somebody has expenses of $50,000 in retirement, but they could trigger Social Security income at a specific age, and that's going to generate them $30,000 of income. They have pension income of another $30,000 of income, and then they also have savings of 401k accounts or IRA accounts or non-qualified cash accounts of an additional $500,000. Well, it made sense to trigger that Social Security at that point because the combination between the Social Security income and the pension income was already greater than what their expenses are. So that was a win. They didn't have to leverage any of their savings towards an income related strategy. If, let's say, there's a gap there, that's when they could go and create a type of income strategy or an income plan based on what their savings are, or making sure that they're optimizing what their Social Security benefit is so that it's giving them the most amount of income possible to accomplish what that expense need is. After you accomplish step one and you're making sure that you have that income strategy, then you can move on to steps 2 and 3. Step 2 is basically saying, on your leftover monies, your savings, whether that be in your qualified retirement accounts, whether that be in your savings account, whatever that case might be, you should leave anywhere between 3 to 12 months into some sort of liquid account. So that would be an oh my gosh fund, an emergency fund that you could pull from at the drop of a hat in case something happened and you need a new car, or tree comes and falls through your roof and you need a new roof, or whatever that is. You want to make sure that you could at least pull from accounts easily to take care of that emergency need. And then you have step number 3 is making sure that you're growing your accounts. So whatever you don't use up for step 1 and step 2, income needs and emergency needs, now you could use those savings for that step 3 for that growth related need. Everything in the 3-thing scenario has to correlate towards optimizing your Social Security benefit. Because let's say if your Social Security benefit is sitting at $20,000, you have expenses of $80,000, you have no pension income stream, and you do not have enough savings to create some sort of income-related strategy, well, then that might mean that you have to wait longer years to implement that Social Security, so that this is now going to grow up to $36,000 or $40,000 of income. So that it says, okay, I could trigger my Social Security income. I know my expenses are going to be X amount of dollars, and I have more than enough savings for those extra years to now be able to utilize it towards that income need, towards that emergency need, towards that growth related need, to accomplish my retirement, my ideal retirement scenario. Other financial considerations is maybe, when you do hit that ideal retirement date, you want to be more on the go. So you hear this, it's really a 3-tiered system known as the go-go years, the slow-go years, and the no-go years. The go-go years meaning that, okay, I want to travel the world. I want to, go on vacation multiple times throughout the course of the year. Well, you might do that for the next 5-10 years into retirement. So let's say if somebody ideally wants to retire at age 65, they may be traveling or really ramping up their traveling and ramping up their activities and their hobbies for those 5 to 10 years. They're on the go. Then they start scaling back a little bit and say, you know what? Okay, I'm feeling a little bit exhausted. I want to slow down a little bit. So that's where you're going to go with the slow go years. So maybe instead of doing 4 trips a year, you're going to do 1 trip a year, or 1 trip every 2 years, whatever that is. So that might last for another 5-10 years. And then you have the no-go stage, which is kind of the depressing stage. And that just says, maybe the highlight of your day or the highlight of your week might be bringing in the garbage cans, and you're just going to doctor visits, day by day, week by week, to make sure that you're still able to live. Because the longer that you live, the higher chance you're going to become frail, and you're not going to want to move around as much. So that's where, how to make sure that maybe your expenses might be greater in those earlier years during the go-go stage, and then start to reduce during the slow-go stage, and then really reduce during the no-go stage. Or maybe you might have different expenses that will come along the way. So by having a concrete Social Security income plan and making sure that you're optimizing your benefits the right way, it's extremely important. The other financial consideration is understanding what your health is. Have you had, strokes, heart attacks, multiple surgeries, cancers, whatever that case might be, that maybe your health condition might not allow you to live as long as you once thought. Also, family considerations or life expectancy. Maybe you had, brothers that passed away early, and same thing with parents that passed away early, and you don't have that longevity on your side. So that might make more mathematical sense to trigger Social Security income earlier, so you're able to reap the benefits of that, because statistically speaking, you may not live until that age 90, until that age 100. So you want to make sure that you're understanding what those break-even points are. And this is where we provide value, is really on the financial consideration side, because individuals, in order to really create some sort of plan, you have to know where you're going. And you have to really understand where your current situation is, what your goals are, what your ideal retirement vision is, and then how to back up into the math. So any individual that's watching this video, I have a couple different ways on how you could do this. You could either call our 1-800 number, which is 1-800-566-1002, and reference this video, or in the description of this video, I'm going to have a calendar embed. So you could set up a direct appointment, and we're offering you a free 20-minute consultation with an advisor regarding this specific topic. So you just basically type in, the Social Security 62 verse 67 verse 70, and when speaking with an advisor, explain to them your situation. Say, I'm not really sure when I should be triggering Social Security income. What would be most favorable for my specific situation. And what we do is we have specific tools and ebooks and literature pieces to help individuals become educated on the topic further, and then really look underneath the hood on their specific situation to say, ideally, what is your Social Security income? What's your full retirement age? What is your scenario? What is your spouse's scenario? And then mathematically, what would be the most appropriate given your guys' financial considerations, your financial circumstances, to trigger Social Security income in addition to some sort of planning implementation. So I hope you found value in this video. This is a very important topic regarding the differences between Social Security at age 62, 67, and 70, and there's no real cookie cutter answer for it. It goes by a case-by-case basis, and that's where we try to provide as much value to you as possible. So once again, feel free to call the 800 number, 1-800-566-1002, or click on the calendar link to get set up directly with an advisor regarding your specific situation, so you can at least have that peace of mind that you're doing things correctly, throughout retirement or as you start nearing retirement. Also, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Retire Sharp, so you have access to the most updated videos. Thanks so much, guys.